Hey guys, Joseph Arendsen here, making my final video for 2023, kind of looking back and doing a recap of this year, and also painting a picture for what we got next year. Here we go. All right guys, so inventory is on the rise, but really for how long will we see that? That's really what I want to break down on this video. So the first thing that I want to talk about is our stats today and where we have, or what we saw through December. So I want to point out that one, we saw 1,154 homes come on the market this month. Once again, we are seeing more sales than listings come on the market. It's actually 10 of the last 12 months this year, we saw less listings come on the market than we actually had sales. Now, that's unfortunate. We really need to see that trend the other way. We started to see that in October and November, and we were really hoping to see that in December, and unfortunately, we're not getting the numbers that we need. So as of right now, we've had 1,472 homes sell, and 1,223 homes go pending, which is more than the amount of inventory we had come to the market. So now guys, I want to look at our year over year sales. So the whole year combined looked at 2022. Well, sure enough, we had negative 32% when it comes to inventory. In a year in 2022 where we already had low inventory, going through 2023 with negative 32% is a significant change. I'm going to show you guys some graphs that'll really paint this picture, because we are way lower than historic data shows in a normal healthy market. Well, sure enough, closed sales, of course, if we have less inventory in an already down market, we're gonna have less sales. So sure enough, we're down 24% when it comes to the amount of homes actually sold. So what did that do to prices? Well, it was a tough year. We only saw appreciation go up about 2.8%. Now, everybody, you're probably seeing all these doom and gloom headlines about the market tanking across the United States. You know, that's not necessarily true when it comes to values. It's definitely true when it comes to the amount of homes sold. I've talked about this a lot, but definitely not when it comes to value. So sure enough, we saw 2.8% appreciation year over year. Now, days on market has increased. We're up about 24%. So homes are taking longer to sell. And why is that? Well, it's the affordability issue. We saw interest rates get up to 8% and affordability go down almost 7% this year. So when you have affordability threshold, or affordability actually technically go up and become more affordable or less affordable, everything more expensive to purchase, well, of course you're not gonna have that type of demand that maybe you had the previous year. So sure enough, that's causing days on market to kind of increase in our buyer pool to diminish a little bit. So what does that look like when it comes to, you know, how is it going to affect our market going into next year? The biggest thing, guys, that we got to keep our eyes on is inventory levels, and will they increase enough to cause any type of fluctuation? So in order to know that, we need to kind of follow the inventory levels. The graph that I'm showing you here is inventory versus sales. And this is showing us when we started to see this year, more listings come on the market than actual homes sell. And sure enough, we saw this gap in September, October, and November. Unfortunately, we're not seeing that in December. And going into next year, you know, I'm not projecting that we're going to continue to see that big gain in inventory levels. Now, the next graph that I want to show you guys is the historic inventory of homes sales by month over every year back to 2013. This graph tells me the most, and the reason why it's so dramatic here is that the inventory levels are so much significantly less from 2020 to now than they were in healthy markets. I've been in this market almost, you know, through 2013, and it was always a healthy, strong market, always multiple offer situations for the most part, competition out there, appreciation going up. And so how is it that much different in inventory now than then? Well, that's because, people aren't moving, people aren't selling. And that's why I've been talking about these low inventory levels for so long this year, is that it has been huge, just like you're seeing here on this graph. Now, the next graph I want to talk about is historic month of supply of inventory. So how fast homes are selling, right, compared to the amount of homes that are on the market. Well, sure enough, finally, we're seeing this number increase, and we're getting up into that 3.5 months of inventory. So less sales happening, but we also have less inventory. So our month's supply has been low, but now we're finally seeing it increase. So I gotta say, the Federal Reserve is doing their job correctly and slowing down the real estate market to a more normal market. And I really hope we continue to see this trend right here and get into that 4.5, maybe even 5 months of inventory, because that'll really make us a balanced market. Sure, some homes won't sell for as much as some people thought they would, but ultimately they'll be driven by location, condition, desirability, right? And that will drive pricing, not necessarily just lack of inventory. And that's the type of market that we want to get back to. So how can I say that the Fed is actually doing their jobs when it comes to the real estate market? I'm not talking about other industries, but the real estate market. That's because I'm actually projecting, and actually everybody's projecting, that the Fed will start lowering rates next year. We could see, at least all the analysts, I'm gonna show you a graph here of pretty much some of the biggest analysts out there, what they're projecting. And a lot of people are saying middle of next year, we'll start to see the Federal Reserve reduce rates, and we'll see mortgage rates get down into the 6s and maybe even into the 5s next year. That'll probably start happening mid-year, and we'll see that continue through 2025. Well, as we just saw in the graphs, inventory levels are finally creeping up, and that's what we wanted to see. And when interest rates do start to come down, we're going to see a flood of buyers re-enter the market. And I think it's going to be perfect timing, and it will keep our inventory at probably that 4 to 5 months supply of inventory, which will ultimately drive a healthy market, maybe somewhere between 3 to 5% appreciation in the coming years, and really get us back to a more balanced market. So kudos to the Fed for what they've done so far. Hopefully they don't drag their feet too long and they do lower these rates as planned going into next year. All right, guys, that wraps it up. I want to give my buyers and sellers some quick advice here. Buyers, if you're out there, don't wait too long. Interest rates already took a 1% dip since October, and sure enough, buyers are getting back out there and getting active. If there's a home that you're looking at that you like, I would jump on it. I think going into next year, when interest rates do start to come down, we're gonna see a lot of buyers re-enter the market, and we could see some more competition there. For all my seller clients out there, here's the big kind of idea when it comes to pricing. You have to be the next to sell home. Inventory is creeping up a little bit. Days on market's creeping up. So you gotta make sure that you're strategically priced to be the next to sell home. So you need to look at what's active in your neighborhood. What's your competition? And you need to beat them by price, just by a little bit. So those are my tips, guys. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to myself or somebody here on the True Local team. All right, take care.